You might be thinking that the #1 risk facing your kids today is drugs, but it's not. It's climate change. But just behind that, a scary new threat is arising. It's beans. Kids and adults today are getting increasingly hooked on beans, the hot new commodity that can have you feeling as good as this.
I'm having a good time with beans.
And as bad as this.
I'm sad that I'm not currently having a good time with beans.
Now, this might seem like a perfectly normal, vacuous man, but overexposure to beans can have dire consequences. If consumed through the mouth or the other place, a complex neurological chain reaction takes place that scientists are calling getting absolutely f***ed up on beans. These innocent-looking capsules might seem harmless, but allow yourself a simple chuckle at this clown who got absolutely bean-brained.
I am neither having a good time with beans or a bad time with beans. I am simply completely
bean-brained.
As shown on the most recent episode of Beans at the Border, our boys in beans are taking a hardline approach to this incredibly dangerous substance. Due to recent legislation making beans a Class Beans controlled substance, many folks are turning to hollow facsimiles that represent the interlocking ecosystem of bean use. A card game that they like to call Bohnanza. The B in Bohnanza standing for beans, with the O and the H representing, oh, I'd like to have some beans. The rest remains unclear. In this game, players act as bean farmers trying to shuffle their product out of the country by making complex interlocking trades with one another, attempting to earn the most money by successfully exporting beans. And the reports from the front line are dire.
Every time I go to the pub, I bring a can of beans with me.
And how do you know what days to bring the beans?
We got codes we use on text messages. BYOB, bring your own beans. BRB, beans, really need some beans. LOL, love loads of legumes. As in, I got loads of legumes, so.
I got loads of legumes.
We didn't know what the hell that guy was talking about, so we thought we would get an expert. And the budget didn't stretch to a real expert, so we got him. It's beans.
Are you really sure that an inexplicably lengthy skit about beans is going to distract people from the fact that we're only now reviewing a card game that came out 26 years ago? I mean, I haven't even played it.
Wait, what? You haven't played it?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
I don't know.
So how does this game work? Every player gets a hand of cards that you cannot rearrange. And the person who says beans the fastest gets to take the first turn. On your turn, you must plant the first card in your hand, placing it onto the table in one of the 2 imaginary bean fields in front of you. You then may plant an additional bean, if you fancy. Once you've planted your beans, you're going to draw 2 cards from the top of the deck, and you have to plant those in your fields too. But only one kind of bean can exist per field, so if you planted a stink bean and a blue bean, and a green bean and a garden bean come along, tough stuff. Time to get digging, Mr. Hines.
Tom, who's this guy with the weird hands doing all the creepy bean roll?
Oh, that's just Tim. He's helping us with the bean roll for this video. He's fine.
He looks weird.
Don't worry about it. It's just beans. So what if you don't want to plant those beans off the top of the deck to keep your fields minty fresh? Well, this is the heart of Bohnanza, the trading phase, where players can make trades with each other using the beans on the table and the beans in their hand, making all kinds of deals, swaps and IOUs to get the right beans in the right place and ripe for harvesting, or just to prune their hand for future planting. Everyone is involved here, the whole table getting in on the fast-moving bean action. Stink for a soy? Don't mind if I do. Green for a garden? You'll have to sweeten the deal. 2 black-eyed beans for 4 chili? I'll have to talk to my accountant.
Any cards traded immediately get planted into the fields of the people who traded for them. And then you proceed to the end of your turn, drawing up 3 more cards into your hand.
Wait, Matt, how do you know the rules to this? I thought that you hadn't ever played it before.
It's a very simple game. I just intuited it all from the components.
Oh, right. Okay. So Bohnanza is actually a really simple game, and that's all part of its charm. Now at some point you'll have to harvest beans, and that's where the beanometer comes into play, a scientifically proven rating scale for the quality of every bean yet made. This number is how many of the beans you need to harvest at once to acquire this many coins. So if you harvested 4 blue beans, one of them becomes a coin while the others go back into the discard pile. And wouldn't you know it, the person with the most coins at the end of the game wins.
Are you sure that Tim is okay? He still looks really weird.
Matt, how many times? It's fine. He's just been on the beans. Now, this very simple little metric here at the bottom, combined with the number at the top of the cards, which shows you how many of them are in the deck, means that everyone very quickly gets a good idea of how much every card is worth. Which means that after just a couple of rounds, everyone around the table is going to be a white-hot bean trading magnate. The flurry of activity when the trading floor opens is continually hysterical to me. Play it with most people and you get lots of begging, complaining, asking, demanding. But play it with the right people and this game becomes an absurdist stock exchange. I'll get him a bean, you get me a bean, then everyone's got beans,
You promised me your next garden bean, you can have whatever you want.
Take this bean, I'll never hassle you again,
I've got too many beans here, I've got to shift them, Pronto.
Beans.
I'll do anything for a bean. Please, I spent all my beans.
Please just give me one black-eyed bean.
I'll give you a black eye in a minute if you don't give me that soybean that you owe me.
I'll owe you any
On
one
a third
bean.
bean field, I gotta get me some beans.
Beans. Oh my god, he is not fine. Something has gone horribly wrong.
I thought you said he was just on the beans.
Yeah, well, sometimes you're on the beans and sometimes the beans are on you. And also, sometimes the beans make you die.
What?
It's the known side effect. It says so on the side of the box.
That doesn't make it okay.
Oh my god, you are so boring. He'll be fine. We'll give him some cold water and some paracetamol. They'll be right as rain. All right, what next?
He bled to death.
It's fine, it's just beans. All right, listen, I will never turn down a game of Bohnanza. This is one of the most immediate, most funny, most human games this hobby has to offer, which is surprising considering this box looks as repellent as it does. Seriously, not just the box, but the art inside. Both are kind of grotty, which is unbelievable considering this game has been around for over 25 years. But despite its luminous, hideous outer shell, I'm yet to put this game in front of someone who hasn't thoroughly enjoyed it. And maybe that grot is just part of the charm at this point, baked into an instantly recognizable box that doesn't really need to change. And the secret to that success, I think, is non-stop interaction. This is a game where your own turn is so slight and everyone else's turns are so interesting to you. There's just never a point in this game where people aren't engaged fully in the fast-moving nonsense that's unfolding in front of you. Because it's human beings that are jostling the pace of the game forward. Do you want to trade that coffee bean for the chili bean in your hand? You got to decide now or decide never, because this card is going to be on the table for about 6 seconds until someone else comes along and makes a better deal than you. Do you reckon that you just got shafted on a trade? There's no time to dwell. Cards keep on spewing out of this deck and everyone's talking, and goodness, you just want to make a living here. And it's self-balancing as well. I've played plenty of games of Bohnanza where I've come screaming out the gate being a suave salesman from turn 1, accruing a hearty stack of coins, only to have the rest of the table acknowledge that I've been playing the game quite well and blockading me and running some kind of bean amnesty to knock me off my perch. And there's so much more that we could dwell on here, about the design, about the negotiation, about the various iterations of the third bean field rule, about the different ways that you can play variants that have you draw cards from the deck in different ways, about the different editions of the game. Is this 25th anniversary edition worth getting over the tiny little small box? No, it's not. It just has a metal coin. Why would you buy it?
Viewers be advised that the 25th anniversary edition of Bohnanza does not just contain a new shiny coin, but also a new bean type, 3 variant games, and these rather fetching postcards. It also allows the full count of 7 players, which other versions do not. Is that worth the extra cash? I don't know.
But it's just not that relevant, because 90% of the people that I've played this game with are just pulled in by the beans and their effortless simplicity. I fundamentally love this box because it gets played. No matter your familiarity or unfamiliarity with games, I can teach this to you in like a minute. It's quick to teach, it's simple to play, and it's a game where everyone just looks at and laughs with each other constantly. A box that necessitates interaction. And I like that because it means that it gets played in entirely different ways by people who fundamentally approach the game differently. This game is played differently by my accountant friend versus my game designer friend versus my theatre kid friend. All of them bring something different to the game, and all of them take something away too. And I like that because those happy memories about that dumb, silly little card game about beans will compel people to buy it, to bring it home, to share it with their friends. Bohnanza is a neon yellow card game virus that self-replicates across my friends' shelves, gradually normalizing a hobby that I don't know what I'd do without. This is one of those games that just cements playing a nice card game as one of the best excuses to spend time with people you love. I just love this game. I love what it does to people. I love the feelings it produces. I love that it and its heinous artwork still get to represent this hobby 26 years later. 26 years! This game is older than me, and yet it still feels fresh. Like the taste of sweet, sweet beans.